Hi students, today I am going to discuss regarding the trinucleotide repeats. Okay, we will see in detail what is this trinucleotide repeats. Okay, if you see this trinucleotide repeats, we all know that the DNA, which is made up of the genes, okay, this again, if you see these genes which is having 3-letter codons, these 3-letter codons you will also call it as a trinucleotides. Clear? We all know these things. And next one is, if you see, that is many genes, particularly that is trinucleotide, okay, sequence that can be repetitive. Clear? See, normally what happens, we all know that the DNA, which is made up of the genes, and these genes having the 3-letter codons, we will also call it as a trinucleotides, right? See, these trinucleotides, mainly if you see many genes which is having this trinucleotides and those are repetitive, see, this you will call it as a trinucleotide repeats. Okay, this you will call it as a trinucleotide repeats. Okay, if you see in detail regarding this trinucleotide repeats, see what happens, we'll see what is the mechanism that is going to be involved in this trinucleotide repeats. I hope you have understood what is actually this trinucleotide repeats. That means if you see the DNA, which is made up of the genes, and these genes having the 3-letter codons, you will also call it as a trinucleotides. See, that means many genes having this trinucleotides, that is repetitively, that you will call it as a trinucleotide repeats. Okay, next we'll see what are the mechanisms that are going to be involved in this trinucleotide repeats, or what are the causes for this trinucleotide repeats. Okay, we'll see the mechanism or what are the different causes for this trinucleotide repeats. The first one is slippage during DNA replication. Okay, that is slippage during the DNA replication. Okay, what is meant by this slippage during the DNA replication process? See, that means due to repetitive nature of DNA sequence in the particular regions. See, definitely if you see, that is in a DNA sequence, the repetitive nature of this trinucleates is very common in particular regions. See, because of that, what happens, loop out structures are going to be formed. Okay, that is loop out structures are going to be formed here. See, why there is a loop out structures here? Why? Because I am telling that is repetitive nature of DNA sequence. Clear? In the DNA sequence there is a repetitive nature of the trinucleotides is very common. Okay, because of that repetitive nature, what happens, which will be leading to the loop out structures. Clear? See, we'll see here with one example here. Suppose if you see, this is one segment, okay, which is having this trinucleotides, and this is another segment, see, and having this one, and if you see this here, the daughter segment, okay, like this. See, because of that, what happens, if there is a slipping, see, what is meant by the slipping here, there will be formation of loop out structures here. See, suppose if it is segment A, it is segment B, and it is segment C. See how, because of this slipping, how there is a formation of loop, okay, in this first strand. Suppose if you see like this, clear. See, because of this slipping, what happens here, there will be a breakage here. Okay, there is a formation of loop here. See, why there is a formation of loop here? See, because of these two repetitive sequences, clear, there is a formation of loop here, and there will be breakage, okay, between the segments you are going to be observe. Okay, this is going to be repaired by a process known as reparation. That means with the help of the different enzymes, these things are going to be repaired finally. See how it is going to be repaired again. See, if you see like this, clear. That means with the help of these reparation enzymes, what happens, these are going to be supplement the lacking segments of the DNA. That means here there is a segment is going to be lacking. Clear. See, this lacking segment is also provided by these reparation enzymes. Okay, finally what happens here, if this strand which will be undergoing the replication process, so which will be leading to, see like this, will be leading to the expansion of the trinucleotide repeats, you are going to be observed. Clear. See, normally if you see initially it will be only the 2 trinucleotide sequences. After replication, if you see, it has become 3. Is it clear? See, that means it is by the slippage during the replication process. Definitely this is one of the mechanism how this trinucleotide repeat expansion is going to be taking place. Okay, see, and the next mechanism that you will call it as a DNA repair. Okay, because during the process of DNA repair also there is a chance of trinucleotide repeat expansion you are going to be observed here. So that means what happens, suppose if the DNA that is trinucleotide repeat sequence is damaged. Okay, suppose there is, I told you, that is trinucleotide sequence are going to be repeated in a DNA. What happens if that sequence is damaged? Then what happens, that is going to be immediately repaired by homologous recombination. Okay, how it is going to be repaired? Mainly by homologous recombination. Okay, by this method what happens, that type of trinucleotide repeats. If there is any damage, definitely that can be repaired with the help of this homologous recombination process. Okay, what is meant by this homologous recombination here? See, that means here the nucleotide sequence is going to be exchanged between the 2 similar molecules. Okay, see here, this is nothing but is nucleotide sequence exchange between the 2 similar molecules. You will call it as a homologous recombination. Okay, by this recombination method, definitely if there is any damage to the trinucleotide repeats in a DNA, that can be repaired with the help of this homologous recombination process. Okay, this is 2 main mechanisms how that trinucleotide repeats is going to be expanded. And next one is, suppose normally I am telling that if this trinucleotide repeat sequences, okay, that will be very common in the DNA. But what happens if this trinucleotide repeats, if it is more than the normal, okay, then only the DNA is going to be damaged. Suppose if it is a normal level of repeats, then which is not a problem, which is very common in case of the DNA. But what happens whenever, if this trinucleate repeats will be more than the normal, then only the DNA is going to be damaged. See, in this damaged DNA, what happens, whatever the genes, okay, that will be present, okay, which doesn't function at all sometimes and which doesn't work at all. Okay, see, that's why which will be creating some problems or which will be causing some diseases, you will call it as a trinucleotide repeat disorders. Clear. See here what happens in some persons, what happens, more than normal copies, that means trinucleate repeats will be more than the normal but not enough to alter the gene function. Okay, which is not enough to alter the gene functions. Okay, we'll see with one example regarding this thing. See what I'm telling here, if this trinucleotide repeats is more than the normal, definitely the DNA is going to be damaged, definitely, which will be alters the gene function here. But in some cases what happens, even though if this trinucleotide repeats is more than the normal but which is not enough to alter the gene function. Okay, see this individuals, you will call it as a pre-mutation carriers. Okay, so you will call it as a pre-mutation carriers. See, I think you have understood what is meant by this pre-mutation carriers. That means if this trinucleotide repeats is more than the normal, but which is not enough to alter the gene function, see those individuals you will call it as a pre-mutation carriers. Okay, see what happens, these pre-mutation carriers, they pass these extra copies to the children's. Okay, definitely they can pass these type of extra copies. Okay, that means to the children's. See what happens in that children's, that DNA will become unstable here. See, because of the passage of these type of extra copies to the children, what happens, the DNA will become very unstable. So in case of children, what happens, whatever the extra repeats, okay, that has been passed from the parents, that is going to be expand even more. Okay, more copies of these repeats is going to be expanded. So finally what happens, the child has the gene, okay, the children which is having the gene which is not functioning properly. Clear? See, finally what happens, that type of children you will call it as a full mutation. Is it clear? See, have you understood this process what I am going to be explaining here? In some individuals, what happens, the trinucleotide repeats will be more than the normal, but which is not enough to alter the gene function, that you will call it as pre-mutation carriers. Okay, they can pass these extra copies to the children's, so that what happens in that children, the DNA is very unstable and the repeats is going to be expand even more, and the gene, okay, that is present in case of that children which is not functioning properly, okay, that children you will call it as a full mutation. Okay, we will see here one example here, the for this kind of okay, that is trinucleated repeat, that is fragile X syndrome. Okay, this is one of the best example for this trinucleotide repeat syndrome, that is fragile X syndrome. Okay, we will see what happens in case of this fragile X syndrome. See, mainly one gene you will call it as FMR1. Okay, this gene mainly located in the X chromosome. Clear? If you see this type of gene FMR1 which will be located in the X chromosome, see, because of that females are not severely affected than the males. See why? Because females having the two X chromosomes and males having X and Y. So because as this gene will be present in the X chromosomes, here there is less chances of females to be affected with this fragile X syndrome. Clear? See, generally if you see this gene which is having around 5 to 44 trinucleotide repeats. Clear? See, as a pre-mutation carriers, I told you this will be passing to the children's, and which will be expanded to around 555 to 200 trinucleotide repeats. Finally, in case of children's, okay, that means with this fragile X syndrome, see what happens, they are having more than 200 trinucleotide repeats. See, that means more than 200 trinucleotide repeats in case of the children's. Finally they will call it as a fragile X syndrome. Okay, see, this is all regarding the trinucleotide repeats. Okay, next we'll see regarding another topic that is known as chromosomal translocation. Okay, we'll see next, go on to further with another topic, you will call it as a chromosomal translocation. Okay, chromosomal translocation. Okay, this chromosomal translocation, which is nothing but which is interchange of genetic material between the two non-homologous chromosomes. Okay, between the two non-homologous chromosomes. if there is any exchange of genetic material between these two non-homologous chromosomes, that we will call it as a chromosomal translocation. Clear? See, and this chromosomal translocation, which is very essential regarding the diagnostic markers and therapeutic target for different types of cancers like leukemia, lymphoma, as well as the solid tumors. Clear? See this, remember, this will be a very essential tool as well as a diagnostic marker as well as the therapeutic target for the different types of cancers like leukemia, lymphoma, as well as the solid tumors. And if you see here, mainly there is two types of translocations you are going to be observed, that is non-reciprocal translocations and the reciprocal translocations. Okay, non-reciprocal translocations and reciprocal translocations. First we'll see what is meant by this non-reciprocal translocation process. Here you will also call it as a one-way translocation. See what is meant by this one-way translocation. That means here the chromosome segment, whatever the chromosome segment, okay, that will be present, this chromosome segment, that will be transferred to non-homologous chromosome. Clear? See, that means only one way, okay, not the two ways, only from one chromosome to which will be transferring one segment of the chromosome to the non-homologous chromosome, that you will call it as a one-way translocation. You will also call it as a non-reciprocal translocation process. Okay, next one is, we'll call it as a reciprocal translocation. Here what happens, there is an exchange of segments from two non-homologous chromosomes. Okay, that means from two non-homologous chromosomes. Clear? Definitely there will be an exchange of segments from two non-homologous chromosomes. This you will call it as a reciprocal translocation process. Clear? See, here we'll discuss with one example regarding this chromosomal translocation process, how it is going to be taking place. See here what happens regarding the cancers I told you, which will be essential and which is a very important therapeutic target for different types of cancers. We'll see, because of this chromosomal translocation, how which will be causing the cancers here and how which will be acting like a therapeutic target in case of the different types of the cancers. Okay, if you see one of the example here, the translocation of genes to a strong regulatory region. See what happens because of the translocation of genes into a very strong regulatory region. Okay, strong regulatory region in case of the gene, which will be leading to the over expression of oncogenes. Clear? Over expression of oncogenes. See, that means if you see these oncogenes, this is one of the factors which will be useful for the generation of the cancers or for the production of the cancers. These oncogenes will place a very important role. See here, because of this translocation of gene, okay, one of the gene onto a very strong regulatory region, what happens, which will be leading to the over expression of these oncogenes. Clear? See here, if you see one example here, you will call it as activation of MYC oncogene by T814 in Burkitt's lymphoma. Okay, if you see this example here, see, because of this translocation process which will be leading to this Burkitt's lymphoma. See this, in case of this Burkitt's lymphoma, what happens, there will be an activation of this MYC oncogene. Okay, see, by T814. See what is meant by this T814. This T indicates the translocation has been taken place from 8 chromosome to the 14 chromosome. Okay, this is the chromosome numbers. This is 8 chromosome and this is the 14 chromosome. That means translocation has been taken place from 8 to the 14. Okay, in case of this Burkitt's lymphoma, because of the activation of this MYC oncogene. Okay, we'll see in detail regarding this example. See what it is going to be happening here. That means translocation involving chromosome 8 and chromosome 14 in patients with the Burkitt's lymphoma. Is it clear? See this, what it indicates, that is translocation is going to be involved in chromosome 8 and chromosome 14 in patient with this Burkitt lymphoma. See what happens here. The translocation here, this translocation is going to be places this MYC proto-oncogene. Okay, see normally what happens, what this translocation process is going to be taking place here. Because of this translocation, what happens, see whatever this proto-oncogene, okay, that is present in chromosome 8. Clear? This proto-oncogene generally present in the chromosome 8 and this MYC proto-oncogene is transferred to the chromosome 14. Clear? See, under the control of very powerful immunoglobulin heavy chain gene. Okay, see definitely this MYC proto-oncogene from chromosome 8 which will be transferred to the chromosome 14, see under the control of very powerful immunoglobulin, that is heavy chain gene. Okay, this you will call it as IGH, which will be acting like a promoter on this chromosome 14. Clear? See, are you getting? Here translocation places, what happens, this MYC proto-oncogene that is present on this chromosome 8, that is going to be transferred to this chromosome 14 under the control of a very powerful immunoglobulin heavy chain gene, that you will call it as IGH, which will be acting like a promoter on this chromosome 14. Clear? See generally what is the use of this MYC proto-oncogene? Here I am calling it as a proto-oncogene, that means which is not very harmful here. See this, that means this type of genes will be useful to our body. Clear? See normally this MYC proto-oncogenes that will be useful for normal cell proliferation as well as the differentiation process. See normally what happens, these MYC proto-oncogenes that will be useful for the cell proliferation as well as the cell differentiation process. See, but because of this translocation process, what happens, this MYC gene, okay, whenever it is present on this chromosome 14, which will be leading to MYC over expression, you are going to be observed in case of the lymphoid cells. See that means because of this MYC over expression in the lymphoid cells, definitely which will be causing this Burkitt's lymphoma. Okay, that kind of cancers you are going to be observed because of this chromosomal translocation process. Clear? So this is all regarding the two and okay, regarding the first method we had seen, that is translocation of gene to a strong regulatory gene, definitely which will be leading to the over expression of this oncogene. See that means once this proto-oncogene has been transferred into the chromosome 14, this proto-oncogene has been converted into the oncogene here, so that which will be leading to the over expression, okay, which will be leading to this lymphoid, that is lymphoma. That condition you will call it as a Burkitt's lymphoma. Okay, and we'll see and next method of this chromosomal translocation process, that is creation of novel fusion proteins. Okay, next we'll see regarding the creation of novel fusion proteins. Okay, this is one type of chromosomal translocation. See, first one is we had seen because of translocation there will be an overexpression of the oncogenes which will be leading to the cancers, and the next type of this chromosomal translocation is creation of novel fusion proteins. See, that means this consisting of parts of genes, this will be consisting of the parts of genes that participates in the translocation process. Okay, this definitely consisting of a parts of genes that is going to be participate in the chromosomal translocation process. Clear? That means parts of the genes that are going to be participating here. See, that means if you see, that is tell, we will also call it as ETV6 gene. Okay, that is present on chromosome 12. Okay, this is going to be fuses with, that is AML1. We will also call it as RUNX1 gene that is present on chromosome 21. Okay, how we are going to be write it here, that is T1221. Okay, that means here not translocation is going to be taking place here. That means a fusion between these, which will be leading to the creation of novel fusion proteins. Okay, this also you will call it as a one type of chromosomal translocation process, which will be leading to the creation of novel fusion proteins. Okay, which will be consisting of parts of the genes that are going to be participate in the chromosomal translocation. Clear? See, that means here what is the two types of genes? Clear? That means TEL gene present on the chromosome 12 with the, that is AML1 gene that is present on the 21. Okay, because of the fusion of these two types of genes, okay, which will be leading to one novel fusion protein. Clear? Okay, this is all regarding the different that is translocation, that is chromosomal translocation process, as well as that we will call it as trinucleotide repeats. Okay, I hope you understood this class. Thank you so much.